Okay, so I wanted to talk a little bit about the Patriots and Tom Brady and their significance in what we now consider the New World Order, the Illuminati agenda, the psychological operation that's been unfolding since 9/11, the Patriot Act, and all of these types of things. So I've been referring to 2017 as being the year of the beast, but also having a spiritual undertones that are significant as well. So there's going to be a lot of highs and lows in this year, a lot of ups and downs. And I think it's going to be a very intense year. Everyone talked about how intense 2017 was, but I believe 2016 was, but 2017 I think is going to far surpass 2016, and I think it's going to get more intense with each coming year. I don't think there's going to be any respites and no remission years when we're in remission from this cultural cancer. And so why this is significant that the Patriots are in this Super Bowl and this intensity and all these things with Trump and everything's going on with the world. Now, when I grew up in Hartford, Connecticut, near Hartford, Connecticut, I lived in around the Hartford area and suburbs, and they're small cities relatively to the big cities of New York and Boston that are 2 hours away. Hartford didn't have any sports teams until the Whalers hockey team came into town. I don't know if they're still there. And the Yukon Huskies weren't anything when I grew up. So there was no real Connecticut sports to think of. And people either drove to New York or Boston for those sports teams. So it was equally split between the New York and Boston sports franchises. And I didn't like any of the teams in either of those cities, and they were god-awful teams for the most part. Except for the Celtics, the Patriots were horrible. The football teams, the Patriots were horrible, and the Jets and the Giants were horrible. They never went to the playoffs, and they were always on TV. It's kind of a bummer. And the Patriots didn't become a sort of national powerhouse until September 11th, 2001. Remember how they canceled a week of football or postponed it after the events of 9/11. And the Patriots emerged with Tom Brady as a rookie quarterback as a perennial powerhouse. They went on to win the Super Bowl that year. And there was some cheating involved. There was that bogus call when they played the Raiders. So remember how patriotic everybody was during that period of time. And then they played the Raiders that are known to be these like scoundrels, and then their fans are like the worst fans. And the Raiders have this dark, piratey type of reputation. And they played in the AFC Championship, and there was a fake fumble where they called a fumble a pass, and the Patriots went on to win. And it was very controversial, and the Patriots went on to beat a much better St. Louis Rams team. And Tom Brady became this icon. And he had this, he's sort of a model. He looks like a model, this all-American type of guy, wearing the red, white, and blue of the Patriots, and he became this national calling card that invoked more of this patriotic spirit and all of the things that we see in terms of these wars that have happened since then, and the Patriot Act and this type of attitude. So this became a country that was on a mission to go out and destroy other countries and get rid of our civil liberties and our rights. And all the things that we now see happening in 2017 really started nationally, where everyone was involved. There's, of course, been plans for this for maybe centuries, but in terms of this global rollout of a police state and these things, all of these things started with 9/11. 9/11 was the big reveal. And so then you take the Patriots winning the Super Bowl was a part of that reveal. So it was a big cultural movement, a worldwide cultural movement, and certainly the biggest event in modern American history. And then you think about Tom Brady being married to Giselle Buchanan. And I did a video about her. She did her last catwalk at the Olympic ceremony in Rio, Brazil, where she's from. And so that was something that happened this past year. And so she was this iconic figure at that Illuminati ritual we see they rolled out in Brazil. and now her husband is playing again for the Super Bowl in a very contentious year. And it seems to be bookends to what happened in 2011. He's ending his career so many years later. He's maybe got a couple more years of football in him, if that. He went through that Deflategate. And here's a guy who's been this all-American patriotic figure, and they represent American power, the Patriots, in the way that they have been just this perennial powerhouse. And yet they have been accused of cheating and Deflategate and things that I've covered before. You know, they've been good at cheating. They've got caught in cheating. They got a reputation in terms of in the National Football League of being cheaters and these types of things. And so you have this attitude, this hyper-Americanization, this nationalistic type emblem and symbol, and underneath it, and this face of the franchise, the All-American boy, but underneath there's a cheating spirit and sort of a different type of individual and a different type of organization. I think these things are all significant going into the Super Bowl because they've created narratives. And if you know anything about professional sports, you know that they're staged to some degree. And I think they're getting more and more staged. Of course, I've talked about this. The National Football League is worth $20 billion, but there's $20 billion of betting. $80 billion of betting or more each year. And so the betting industry is 4 times more valuable than the actual event, much like what we see with the debt-based currency, where the derivative markets far exceed the total amount of currency that's available. And so there's this sort of illusionary aspect to everything that we're watching there. And I just had one more small point. The first Super Bowl that Tom Brady won was Super Bowl 36, and it is in Roman numerals 3 X's and a 6. So there's a numerical significance here, and I've talked about this before. People know this. Triple X represents the beast. So you have the triple X, the beast, and the 6 that comes after it, and that was Tom Brady's first Super Bowl, and here we are in 2017, the year of the beast. And so it'd be interesting to see how they play these already creative narratives of Tom Brady and the Patriots with what's going on in 2017 and Donald Trump, and being a bookend to the 9/11 event that happened, I guess, 16 years ago. All right, so I think this is going to be significant. It's something to look for if you watch the Super Bowl. I'll cover this a little bit more after the game. Everybody have a blessed day.